And we are live, sir. Any podcast. I'm your host, Joe B. Sit with me, not Billy C, Mr. Delvin C, Delvin Cox from the Delvin Cox Experience. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Everything's good, brother. Everything's a go. I'm happy to be on here. What's up, everybody?
We are live every Wednesday on YouTube. You can interact with the chat. It is up. I added a TV in here, so I have the chat up on a different screen, although it says it was disconnected, reconnected, and right now DJ from The Untrained Eye is the first one in to say, "What's up, fellas?"
What's up, DJ?
We are on the Inner Circle Podcast Network. You can go to innercirclepn.com, and you can see all the shows here, like us, the official lounge show of the podcast, or of the network. Shows like Simmons and More, which is the sports adjacent, funny, white guy, black guy, the Demolition Man show of the, although those guys were enemies, so I shouldn't use that one. They're like the psych of.
That's a good answer.
They're like the psych of the Inner Circle Network. We have the Hood Diner with Kaz and DJ Century, which I love their shit. Their hip hop vibe that they kick. That's probably one of my favorite shows to jam out to. Of course, OGs like Chris with the hashtag No Offense Show. He's been on the Delvin Cox Experience.
That's my boy.
Shit happens when you party naked. I think Almi was on your show as well.
Yeah, he fucked up the whole show.
And then you have the boys from The Plunge and their brother, Failing Hollywood. It's funny to be in the chat sometimes when they start going at it like siblings. That's but it's good shit. InnerCirclePN.com. Check out all the shows, especially the exclusive shit. Comedy is Dead. You were on one of those. We have the sports show, the Slimmer Circle, which went with the weight loss challenge, but it's just a nutrition show. They're gonna keep carrying that shit on, and we have Throwing Smoke with me and Uncle Randy from the Married AF podcast, kicking down on some MMA, UFC shit. It's a fun show to do.
I will say this. The Inner Circle Podcast Group has some of the best podcasts out there. Bar none.
I appreciate it. It's nice to hear. Usually all we catch is a lot of hate from people, so it's nice to get complimented every once in a while. And we are brought to you by Official Clothing. You can go to ohfishl.com. Use code ANYPOD and save yourself 25%, at least on your first order, and get some nice threads, like the cool Vibe shirt. I like to wear my 420 Vibes one a lot in my big old red official. I got to get some new shit.
Vibe shirt's dope.
Yeah, and it's all handmade from Casual himself. You know what I mean? So I know that I'm paying him money so that he can pay for his family. You know, he's supporting his family. They're quality shit, and it's affordable. It is not. Some shirts are expensive. These are not. They're nice. They're comfortable. You can wear them around all day.
That's dope.
Delvin Cox. So with your show, right, you start out with the Fast Five?
5 for 5. Five questions, right? 5 answers to get the ball rolling. Yep.
So I figure, right, first question I was going to ask is, I mean, I have so many questions that I wanted to. It was hard to narrow down to 5. But first question I wanted to ask, if you could be any character from a comic book, who are you choosing?
Captain America.
Ooh, that's it.
Without a shadow of a doubt, Captain America.
Any particular reason? Is he your favorite out of all of them?
He's my favorite, and I think out of all the characters, I'm probably most like him in terms of I'm like somebody who always tries to stand up for the little guy, and it doesn't matter if I will get hurt in the process, but I'm always kind of trying to be that virtuoso symbol of kind of righteousness in terms of if I see an injustice happening, I'm always the one to say, this shit's got to stop. And that's one of the things I'm always inspired. I love about Captain America, the fact that no matter what goes on, he's always going to fight for what he believes in, even if it costs him everything.
Because he actually fights for it. That's the good thing, not just talks about fighting.
Yes, like perfect example of that is Endgame.
Yeah.
The whole final battle in the game where Spoilers for Endgame. If you haven't seen Endgame yet, what the fuck are you doing? You should have been seen Endgame by now.
Yeah.
Should have seen it seven times by now. But during the final battle, one of the coolest scenes I've ever seen in comic book history is Thor, Iron Man, and Cap fighting against Thanos. And Thanos just sitting looking like a badass. And he immediately takes out Thor and Iron Man. I don't know how, but he just immediately takes them out. And it's Captain America, who is clearly overmatched by Thanos, and then Captain America is just a regular guy. But he takes Thor's hammer and basically holds off Thanos till all the Avengers can come in. It's such an awesome scene because it shows the type of character he is. That there's one point in that scene where Thanos is fighting Captain America. He just gets pissed off and he calls his entire army to basically destroy Captain America. And he's sitting there with his shield broken and his hammer in his hand. He's like, well, fuck it. I guess I got to fight this entire army. He's not even thinking that the Avengers are going to come. He's just like, well, this is how I got to go out. This is how I got to go out, going down fighting. And that's a really cool aspect of that character.
How loud was the theater that you were in for Endgame go when that scene happened?
It was amazing. People started crying because it was so cool. It was such a... I think it's only happened... I want to say I've only experienced that in the theater 3 times. The first time I experienced it was during The Force Awakens. With spoilers for The Force Awakens, Han Solo gets murdered by Kylo Ren.
Wow, really? You had people... I guess, did I see that one in theater? I thought I did, but it was very not emotional at all.
Oh. When I was in the theater, it's one of the few times when people got dead silent to the point you can hear somebody sobbing.
Bam.
I remember that. I remember that part vividly. And the second time, of course, was when I went to see Infinity War. And the big scene happens in Infinity War, and everybody's favorite heroes are just disintegrating. And then when they got to Spider-Man, you hear people say, no, like in the theater. The theater was loud. Because people were freaking out because they're seeing Spider-Man like go in their own eyes.
You just got here.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like I said, I never really experienced that in the theater. Because, like I said, when all the big movies that we love as kids came out, we were kids, like, Star Wars. People said things like that used to happen to Star Wars and Indiana Jones. I wouldn't remember those moments because when the last Star Wars movie that came out when I was a kid, with the exception of the prequels, was Return of the Jedi, which was like 86 or something like that. I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
But sit there.
I think the first movie I saw in theaters was Batman in '89.
Okay, that makes sense. I've seen a lot of movies. The first one I think I remember seeing in theaters probably was Transformers the movie. Even though I'm quite sure I've seen movies before that. But I remember that vividly because that was my most favorite movie of all time. And I remember seeing that. I remember seeing Gremlins in the theater when it first came out.
Damn.
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, because when I was a kid, my parents were separated when they were divorced, actually. And my dad used to always take us to the movies every Saturday, Friday night, Saturday morning. And the thing about the movies back then were they didn't give a fuck about theater hopping. So we'd go early in the morning and see everything in the theater. So I saw a lot of obscure movies like Mannequin and Mannequin 2 because we were in the theater all day. It's crazy to think about that, but like a lot of those movies that people wouldn't like really think about as being cool, like Better Off Dead, I saw in the theaters because we sat in the movie theater the whole day watching movies.
No shit. That's funny shit. Oh, shit. The other question is, who is your favorite wrestler?
John Cena.
John Cena, really?
I love John Cena. Out of all of them, John Cena.
Wow.
It was Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's done some suspect shit, so I'm like, I don't know if I can put him as my number one no more.
Can you not separate the artist from the shit?
Oh, I definitely can. I still love Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
I still love Hulk Hogan, but I can't put him as my number one.
that's fair. That's a fair man. I even like Rock, Stone Cold.
Oh, Rock is my number two.
Yeah, all right.
I love John Cena. I love. I'll give you my top five: John Cena, The Rock, Bret Hart, probably Hulk Hogan, and Goldberg. I like the whole pageantry of wrestling. I like the guys who seem larger than life because I grew up watching wrestling in the 80s. So I like the kind of larger than life characters like Hulk Hogan was and Andre the Giant and stuff like that. But I love the workers too. I like AJ Styles is one of my favorite wrestlers as well.
I don't even know who that is.
You know who AJ Styles is?
No.
You need to look up some AJ Styles stuff. He is awesome. But I love the guys who feel larger than life, like The Undertaker, Kane, people like that, because they make wrestling fun. If I want to watch some guy who can just beat the shit out of people, I watch UFC.
Yeah.
But wrestling is kind of different because you can be that superhero fun character, and you can put that superhero fun character against a psychotic clown or something like that, or a guy who's a rapper, but he's white, and he runs around with a chain saying word life. And that's the kind of coolness of wrestling. I think people take it too serious now, but wrestling is supposed to be fun.
I think that was the one thing I never seen. I was already done by the time John Cena came in and was big. Like, I think I had tapped out after like Stone Cold and The Rock were done. I think that was I was probably 16, 17, and that's when I was definitely out. But then also moving around, like I just was never held on to it long enough. When I was a young kid in Nevada in the 80s, we watched it when it was on like USA on fucking Saturdays like right after cartoons. You could just go on to wrestling, see some matches. You'd get there was like the wrestling cartoon back in the day.
Yes, rock and roll wrestling.
So
I remember that specifically.
But after 90s, when came around, some people got pay-per-views. I'd watch with them. And then up here, up until, probably like 90, 98 maybe will be the last one where it was like, all right, no more pay-per-views. And then just after that, I don't know. I became an adult and started drinking and not paying attention to things.
I remember two things specifically about the 90s and pay-per-views. The two pay-per-views I always watched was wrestling and boxing. And boxing was because of Tyson.
Tyson's shit.
Yes, I love Tyson.
I think Roy Jones is probably my favorite boxer to watch.
He's my second favorite. I love Roy Jones a lot too.
He was nasty in his prime. Prince Nasir, whatever his name is.
He was dope.
Just flashy moves, but also could murk people with it was crazy hits. He was just a very flashy, fast fighter that lit people up and did not get touched a lot, but also did not last a long time either, it didn't seem like.
Yeah. I like Tyson because Tyson was so big in terms of size. He wasn't tall or nothing like that. He was short and stocky and big, but he was fast and powerful. It's such almost like a bull. And it was amazing watching him beat people in like 30 seconds. And I remember the boxing match used to cost like $80 to watch the fight. And you watch all these matches and stuff waiting for Tyson to come on. And they were cool, but you're waiting for Tyson to come on. And then when Tyson comes on, he knocks some motherfucker out in 30 seconds. Like, what the fuck? And it was cool because you didn't get mad because you kind of knew what you were expecting getting in there. It was just so amazing to watch.
Yes. It was quite insane to see him put people down the way that he did for so long.
Yes.
And then the not tragedy. I mean, whatever. He fucked up, did some crazy shit, and paid for it. Went to jail, was never the same again, and now has reinvented himself to be a whole new person.
And a podcaster.
Yeah. In his little marijuana ranch out in California, which I would like to go to someday. I'm not gonna lie.
Me too.
Could only imagine the price of everything, but it would be dope.
I would love to meet Mike Tyson.
Hell yeah. Favorite book as a kid?
As a kid, since you prefaced it as a kid, I got to think about that one. Most likely, it's probably The Lion in Which the Wardrobe. I love that book.
Mine was Peter Pan.
Peter Pan was good. I love Peter Pan too. Peter Pan was I remember Peter Pan more for, I don't know if you remember this, they had a 90s cartoon show called Peter Pan and the Pirates.
Yeah.
That I loved a lot because it was a darker take on Peter Pan.
Yes. Yeah. I think I wasn't a little kid when it came out. I was probably, what do they call that? Whatever, preteen or teenager, young teen. So, yes, that was actually pretty good. And they stuck a lot to how the book was versus the Disney stuff.
Yes, because Peter Pan was a jerk in that show.
Yeah, no, it was I do remember that show. I love cartoons back in the day. Cartoons today, I have a hard time with.
Me too.
They're not.
I have a pretty big collection of 80s and 90s cartoons in my house that I watch.
Go on.
Like I have the Mighty Mouse series from the, I think it's the early 90s. Yeah, I have the whole collection of that. I have like He-Man, Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs, of course, Batman the Animated Series, the old Transformers series. I have a lot of stuff like Cops. You remember the cartoon show Cops?
Mm-mm.
That was a cool one where it was kind of like in this future. It was cops versus robbers, but the main character was literally an African-American cop who got gunned down in the line of duty.
Jesus.
And this is a kid's TV show, by the way. He gets gunned down the line of duty. So what they do is they rebuild him kind of like, almost like human cyborg, and they call him bulletproof because they make him bulletproof.
Now I'm gonna have to.
It was a cool show.
I'm gonna have to look at this because maybe I did see it and I have no recollection of it. It's almost like RoboCop. But
yes, exactly. And I used to watch that cartoon show a lot too.
RoboCop, yeah. Fuck, what? I remember like Mask.
I used to watch Mask.
I mean, G.I. Joe's obvious. He-Man, all that crap. Thundercats. Did you watch like the remakes that they've done?
Which ones? I watched the remakes of Thundercats, I remember correctly. I know they're remaking He-Man again now with Kevin Smith at the helm, which I think is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
Netflix? Yeah, dude. That I'm excited for.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be cool.
It should be, right? Kevin Smith. Plus, it's on Netflix, so you can be edgier. It doesn't have to, hopefully. I mean, their other remake that they did of Master of the Universe, I thought was pretty decent.
Yeah.
When they take it to like the Teen Titan Go type stuff,
I don't like that at all. Yeah, that's not my bag.
No, I mean some of the shit's funny. My kids watch it, so I hear it. But to sit there and it took like how the old shows, like you could almost you had story arcs that lapsed throughout the series, or at least a couple episodes, where these are just one and done, quick, fast movements. I mean, I think an episode is like 15 minutes, and then there's 2 episodes in the actual show, but it's like, what the fuck? Slow it down. No wonder why kids have no attention span. You need to dial it back.
Yeah, I think that's what you kind of hit it right on the head. I think they've made cartoon shows like people watch YouTube.
And then last question is that, where the fuck am I at? 3, 4, 5. Either way, last question that I had was, what podcast do you listen to every time, no matter what?
It's a few of them I listen to every time. I listen to What Happens When every time. That's the wrestling podcast with Tony Schiavone and Conrad Thompson. So that's a staple of mine. I'm just going off of the name brand podcast. I don't want to go off the indie podcast that I know because there's literally too many to name. And I don't want to miss no one. So I try to listen to every indie podcaster I know. because I want to show support, or I at least download it because I think it's important to support indie podcasts. That's always been my big thing.
Yeah.
To listen to them and give them a shot because I want people to do the same for me. But going back to the question, I think what happens with Tony Schiavone and Conrad Thompson, I listen to every week. The Joe Budden podcast, I listen to every week. And let me give you one more. Probably Fat Man on Batman with Kevin Smith.
There you go. I've been really into the Who Would Win. I don't know if that's considered indie. I guess so. Maybe not. They seem like they're above me, so
well,
as far as following goes.
I listen to that one too, but I consider them friends, so I don't count that one.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because James has been on my podcast, Ray has been on my podcast, so I talk to them quite often. So
that's good shit. No, I enjoy that show a lot. It's a
great
have
show.
Some good little battles. Their debate skills are good, and they keep it funny. Although poor Ray gets picked on a lot. But yeah, dude. Other than that, man, what's up? How's your fucking show doing?
I think it's doing great, man.
Past 100.
Past 100, going strong. That's the main thing, and people are enjoying the content. I think the toughest thing about being 100 plus episodes in is trying to keep it fresh and trying to be as diverse as possible. I know that's the thing that podcasters kind of fall into because you get into that kind of stagnant phase where, okay, I'm going to keep doing what I'm used to doing. And it gets stale after a while. And when it gets stale, the people who listen to the podcast know that. And I think one of the cool things about my show is that every week I have a different guest. And because of that, it keeps it fresh because I never know what they're going to say.
Yeah. Other people are definitely they can go either way with the content that they bring you. Some people are better than others. They know how to fill up time eloquently. Some people are just kind of not.
Yeah, that goes to people who are creators and people who are not creators. You know, a lot of times you have people you get people on your show who's not necessarily a podcaster or new to the game, and they don't know how much it takes to fill up an hour podcast or a 30-minute podcast. That's one of the reasons why I always tell people when you're a podcaster, you don't necessarily have to do 2 or 3 hours. When you feel like you're running out of content, it might be a good time to stop the show not to stop the show like to stop podcasting, but in the episode because you don't want to just sit there like, yeah, okay.
So
what are you doing now? Yeah, just if you're getting bored with the conversation, the people who are listening to are probably getting bored with the conversation. So either try to switch up your flow a little bit and try to go someplace different or out of someplace you wouldn't normally go, or just in the episode. There's nothing wrong with having a 30-minute episode if you have 30 minutes of quality content.
Right.
What I think is wrong is having a 3-hour podcast, and this is not a knock to anybody, but having a 3-hour podcast and only 1 or 1.5 of those hours is listenable. And I think that's a mistake that all podcasters make. I think that was a mistake I used to make when I first started podcasting because I saw everybody else doing 2-3-hour podcasts. I'm like, oh, I guess that's what you do as a podcaster. Then I realized, fuck, some people are just not as interesting to talk to for 3 hours. So why would I talk to this person for 3 hours when an hour in, they don't really have nothing else to say? You've gone through their whole story, and it's nothing more to really talk about on that day. Sometimes you get people who aren't just talkative that day.
Yeah.
So you're trying to stretch out a 3-hour conversation with them. A lot of times you're not going to get nothing. And one of the things with my podcast, which I'm always blessed is, and I know I do a good job with this because every time I finish recording an episode, the person always says, man, we're done already?
Yeah, that's
probably a good sign.
That is a good sign when you have somebody with you. They're like, oh, shit. Then you know that at least they were engaged. They enjoyed the conversation that you guys were having to keep it going for however long, at least that hour and a half that you have where they look back and like, oh, damn, already? All right, I guess. I mean, I still got more we could be talking about. Yeah,
and a lot of times, which I probably should start recording, a lot of times I end the podcast episode and people stay on and talk to me for 30 minutes more just to have a conversation because they don't want to leave. And I think that's a good sign.
Yeah.
To leave an episode on a high note And then when you have that guest come back on, because a lot of times you want to have guests come back on because they have different stories, they have different experiences from the last time they came on. I think it's cool to have them come back on and have more stories to tell. You don't have to blow your wad in one episode.
Yeah, no, that's a true thing. How hard do you find it to reach out to some people, or at least get feedback from, or not feedback, but responses back from them when you're like, hey, I host this podcast. Here's my link. Do you guys want to come on? Do you have issues with it, or or people like, oh shit, yeah, like, because I assume you obviously know who you want to talk to, right? And you're like, oh yeah, obviously I want to talk to this guy.
I used to have a lot of issues with getting people on the show. It was kind of hard. That's one of the reasons why I kind of record my episodes in advance, because I had situations where I say, okay, I want this person as a guest, and then they pull out at the last minute. But as you know, it's hard it's very hard to keep your audience when you can't be consistent.
Yes. Yeah.
So when that happened, I always have to record the episode by myself or something like that. So I kind of got to people like, I'm tired of doing that. I'd rather much have episodes in the can. So if somebody pulls out, it's no big deal. It's not a big rush. I get them in when I get them in. And I think that helps my show a lot, because it's always, when I'm booking guests to come on the show, it's never a hassle like, oh, we got to do it this day, we got to do it this day. It's more like, when you're free, we could do it, which I think helps a lot with that. And also, it's just when you're starting off doing a podcast, especially if it's a guest-oriented podcast, you got to shoot your shot. You got to shoot at people and see who you can get on the show, because you never know who's going to say yes. And sometimes you got to start small and build your base up so people will want to come on the show. A lot of times, especially now, my show has kind of grown so much to the point where people ask me to come on the show.
That's dope, dude.
They either ask me to come on the show or say, hey, would you come on our show? And I can't. And this is not being arrogant at all. This is me being, I don't want to sound like a dick when I say this, but
I flaunt that shit, bro.
I can't remember a time this year I may have been on a podcast that's not mine every week all this year.
Damn. You're busy man.
Because every week somebody's like, hey, man, you want to come on my podcast? And I'm the type of person who will never turn nobody down for coming on a podcast, because I know how it feels to be building that base and trying to get guests, and like, no, this guy can't do it. Oh, that guy can't do it. Oh, that guy can't do it. So I've always been the type of person when somebody says, hey, man, you want to come on my podcast? I need you for something. Yeah, no problem, man. I'll come on, no problem. Just let me know when you want me to come on, because I think it's important to support indie podcasts, especially guys who are young in the game. So a lot of times my show, when I see somebody who's on episode 12 or episode 10, I'm like, hey, come on my podcast and promote your show, man.
Yeah.
Come on my podcast and talk for 30 minutes, letting people know why they should listen to your podcast. I think that helps build up other podcasts. And so when they get to that level, they can be like, yo, Delvin, you helped me build up my podcast. Now I want you to come on my podcast and help build your podcast. And I think it's all about helping each other.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's dope.
Yeah, no, it is a fun community to play around with, especially with the shows like Kame is Dead or Podcast of the Round Table, or even like the Rumbles or the Roasts that they have, like those big collabs that it's just people getting together to create either entertaining content or at least just hang out. You know what I mean? Like it's fun to have it. I mean, especially I have friends that live close that they're so busy with shit they never get to hang out. So it's nice to have something. I'm like, oh yeah, I get this going on or that going on.
Yeah, I think it's dope to have this whole different community of people to talk to who don't necessarily stay in your same area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you get a whole different outlook on life. Like, you know, one of the things I always thought been cool about doing this show is the fact that I've built friendships with people I probably wouldn't even known or had the opportunity to build friendship with, like the guys, the Bearded Indians.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a black guy from Miami who grew up in the streets of Miami. They're white guys who grew up in Texas.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah, so what will people think we have in common? But I talk to them all the time, and they are my really good friends. Like,
nice.
Me and Curtis get along very well. And it doesn't matter our backgrounds. It's about the people that we are. We are really good friends. We talk all the time, and those are my guys. Like, anytime they need me, I'm there. And anytime I need them, they're there.
That's awesome.
I think that's a friendship that developed from podcasting and talking to each other and communicating. I think that's dope. Even Almy.
Yeah.
Almy's my guy. I love Almy to death, man. He's a good dude. And if he wouldn't come on my podcast, I wouldn't have known that. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, he's all right. He's all right. He's kind of, he talks a lot and shit. I don't know. There's stuff. I don't know.
That's probably why I like him so much, because he's so talkative and he's so animated. And it seems like his brain is like a hamster wheel, where it's always going, and it just never stops. I love that aspect of him.
Yeah, there have been times where I was on my way to a camping trip, and we had stopped by. Me and my friend had stopped by on our way to Maine, and him and I just started talking, and we kept going back and forth. I think we was there probably a half hour longer than I need to, and it's like, dude, seriously, we gotta go. Oh shit, sorry, my bad. You know how it is. People just start talking. I'm gonna talk back. I am a talker as well. I've noticed that I have a hard problem shutting up sometimes. Whatever.
Believe it or not, I'm not that much of a talker. I talk a lot on the podcast, but in my private life, I'm relatively quiet. Like, I sit back by myself, almost to the point where I'm probably antisocial. like my friends and people I know, I was like, hey, man, want to come play the game with us, man, and hop on the stream with us and play this game? Like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to sit here and watch Netflix and play this game by myself and not be bothered.
Well, I mean, if you recorded 2 episodes or 3 episodes that week, that one day where you're like, I got nothing, just this, and it's like, hey, come do this. No, man, I'm all set. I need to relax the vocals. Got shit to take care of.
Yeah, it's kind of, I guess that probably plays a big part in it. I think because I talk to people so much, so often, it's like when I come to my personal life, like, I don't feel like talking.
That's it. Yeah.
It's crazy to say that, but it's really true. Like, I don't feel like talking. I've learned enough about people that I need to learn this week. And frankly, you're not that interested in me.
Yeah, shit. I want to shift away from podcasting too much. Other than, like, what is your next episode that you have coming up? Because this one, I think, is awesome. Beyond.
Well, awesome. I have two. The one that comes up tomorrow is with Crystal Storm, who's a fantastic writer. She writes the series called the Snarky series. If you get to check it out, go to her website. Just go at WriterStream on Twitter. All our information is there. I got one of her book. Her book is really cool. Just check it out. Check out her stuff. She's fantastic. She's host. She's been the moderator for Who Would Win. So if you know her from that, yeah, she's been on there. She was on there several times on Who Would Win as a moderator. She's also been a moderator for What Happens Next. She's an awesome, cool person. Listen to the episode. And then next week, I have Rodney Barnes on. Now, for those who don't know, Rodney Barnes has been on my podcast before, but for those who don't know, Rodney Barnes wrote the Boondocks cartoon series. He's one of the writers for the Boondocks cartoon series. He's the executive producer for that cartoon series. He also writes American Gods TV series that's on Stars. He's written seasons of The Runaways, which is on Hulu. And pertaining to this conversation today, he's writing Wu-Tang, American Saga, which is also on Hulu right now.
Balls deep in that show. Have you watched Runaway at all?
Yes, I watched The Runaways.
How was it?
It's really good. It's really good. It's a superhero show, but it's different because have you know the premise of the show, The Runaways?
Yeah, I mean they're kids of villains, right?
Exactly. That's the premise of it. You hit it right on the head.
And they want to do good in the world. They kind of escape their parents, if you will, and which it's kind of weird because my daughter watches Disney or whatever, The Descendants, which is like
Yes.
all the kids of the whatever, you know what it is.
The kids of the Disney princesses and the Disney villains.
Yeah, and whatever, they get together. There's a lot of songs. I usually tend to try to tune it out or walk away before I hang myself.
The Runaways is not like that, by the way. The Runaways is
no singing.
At points dark.
My thing with them is like the stuff that they were doing on Netflix, that Marvel did with Netflix, was great. It was dark. It was gritty. Some of it was kind of some points were lame. Not all of it. It's not all perfect, but that compared to like just like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever, I had a hard time with it, even though it's all canon stuff, but just their effects, from taking cinematic stuff to TV effects. I don't know. I have a hard time with it. It's like watching the CW. I like the stuff, but I have a hard time with it sometimes because it's too much drama.
I agree. I can see that because I know, and this is my opinion, the earlier seasons of Arrow were better because it wasn't that many superhero effects in it. And it kind of played like a Batman TV show almost.
Yes.
It was a lot more grittier, and they didn't have like metahumans in the earlier seasons. It was just like, all right, Oliver Queen has to take out this big-time drug dealer who's poisoning the community.
Right. I mean, the first season, he was just killing people.
Yeah, straight up killing people.
So I mean, I get the no killing, but and I was fine with the Flash in the beginning, but even that, it's just so much drama, so sappy and sad. It's like, all right, relax.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't knock people for saying that at all because I think, and I watch the Flash a lot because my son, I love the Flash, but I watch it more so now because my son likes it a lot. Like I love Arrow. Arrow's my show. But the Flash, it has gotten a little weak because of it's gotten a little too sappy.
Yeah. And then, I mean, Legends of Tomorrow was good for a while.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know. It's run its course. I almost think they should do it in blocks. 8 seasons seems like too long.
I think that's I would even go farther and say I wouldn't mind the 8 seasons if each season was 10 episodes each.
There you go. Yeah.
I think the seasons go on too long.
Yeah. I agree with that. But so anyways, Runaways was good.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
The Wu-Tang Saga.
So far so good.
I'm balls deep, and now it's almost got me to the point where I want to go back and like research myself and see, like, not that it's not accurate, but how much I can read about too and just get more knowledge.
Well, I don't want to get into spoilers because, like I said, I want people to watch the show, and I've also recorded an episode with one of the writers of the show, so I can give you this much insight. The RZA is the executive producer on the show. So all the stuff on the show that you see, he put forth there and approved.
Yeah.
With members of the Wu-Tang coming in at certain aspects about certain elements of their characters.
That's awesome.
And this is firsthand knowledge from a person who worked on the show. And when you listen to the next episode, he's going to say just exactly what I said.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to listen to your episode. Chris also agreed that Wu-Tang is great. He is in the chat because like we are live. But I don't know. I'm blown away by some of the stuff going on.
Yeah, especially episode 1, how it starts off, is shocking.
Yeah. I just finished.
Especially if you know those two characters, how they are now.
Yeah. But you know what's weird is I had them backwards.
What, on the show?
Yeah, I didn't realize who was. I didn't realize that. I mean, Dennis is Ghostface Killer. I didn't realize that I had it the other way around.
Ah, you thought.
Just yeah, I thought dude with the teeth. What the fuck's his name? Um, I thought that was Ghostface, not Raekwon.
Yeah, I figured that because Ghostface is one of my favorite rappers, and I remember him always talking about his brothers.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Him having to take care of his brothers, his mother being a drunk. So I vividly remember that. So once I saw that scene, I want to get too back. I want to spoil it for people who haven't seen the show yet. But once I seen that scene and what happened, like, oh shit, that's Ghostface.
Episode 5 dropped today. If you didn't see episode 1 yet, what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
That
is true.
They're not dropping it so you can binge it. It's a weekly show. Netflix is changing. They're not going to be dropping. I think not everything.
Not every show.
Yeah.
But they're going to have more serialized shows.
Yeah, which is what the fuck is that? The whole point of cable are getting rid of it.
I think they're doing it because they want to because usually when their shows come out, it gets a big bump those first 2 days. Then people don't talk about it no more. And when you have shows like the Wu-Tang come out every weekly, you have that first week, and if it's good, people talk about the next week, and the next week, and the next week, and you keep that conversation going.
Did he say how many episodes there are gonna be?
I think it's 10.
10? All right. I was wondering, like, because I thought it was just out in binge, and I realized last night as I was watching 3 and 4 that, 5 was coming soon. I'm like, oh shit, what the hell? I wonder how many episodes they're going. Like, how far they go? 8, 10, depending on the show.
I know it ends in October. That I know for sure.
Yeah, so probably 10 then.
Yeah, I know it ends like mid to end October.
Damn. Now, how do you do sequels and stuff?
Well, you can easily do a season. Wu-Tang has so much content.
Oh, no kidding.
In terms of like, you can do that show if they want to. They can do that show for years. Years. Like, even up to today, in terms of like the whole Martin Shkreli thing with the selling the album for $1 million. That's a whole other conversation.
That dude's a piece of shit for so many reasons.
Yeah.
So many reasons. Kidnapping the Wu-Tang CD for himself, greedy bastard.
Yeah. And if anybody watched the documentary on that, watch the documentary and hear how that conversation went down about that CD that apparently nobody got fucking paid off of.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Who Ghostface is your favorite out of all of the Wu?
Yes, I love Ghostface.
Him and Raekwon. I think him, Raekwon, and Method Man are obviously the most favorite out of all of them. Like Method Man's got to be the favorite.
Most likely, yeah. But I fell in love with Ghostface for reasons that people wouldn't believe. Well, I might well tell everybody hear this. What? I don't know if people know Ghostface's Killer's discography, but you know the song. I think you were rapping the song on your thing today. Daytona 500.
Song's sick.
Video. The video.
I don't even think I know the video.
You never seen the Daytona 500 video?
Nope.
It is fantastic because I know, for those who don't know, when the Wu-Tang first came out, they weren't showing their faces in videos because a lot of them had pending charges and stuff like that. So they used to wear the mask and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So the Daytona 500 video, because Ghostface was one of the ones, people started showing their faces like eventually, but Ghostface was one of the ones who were one of the last ones to show their face. But in the Daytona 500 video, it is literally a Speed Racer cartoon.
Oh, no shit. I'm going to have to fucking watch that.
It's like a Speed Racer cartoon, and it's edited in a way where it looks like Speed Racer and the characters from the show are rapping. It is so fucking cool.
Wait, it's like the animated music videos before they had them? They're like ahead of their time. No shit. That's funny.
Yeah, but it's actual clips from the show. And the way it's cut and edited, it goes perfectly with the beat. It's so cool.
Chris said R.I.P. to ODB.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you knew who he was in the show automatically.
You know who the guy who's playing ODB is, right?
Mm-mm.
That's his son.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, that's his son.
That's awesome. I mean, that, they went that route.
Looks just like him.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely like, all right, I know who you are. I was a little upset about it. I was like, what? I got very confused. Yeah, see, I don't want to spoil it from the last 2 episodes that I watched, but I was very surprised by the swap. Only what threw me off was dude's voice. The dude with the gold teeth sounded like Ghostface on like Iron Man. You know what I mean? Like that action Bronson high pitched kind of voice. I was like, oh shit. And then it was the other way around. I'm like, wait, what? No, that's not right, is it? All right. Now I have to like look back at everything and read everything.
Yeah, I think the show is well done, is well casted too, and I want to see how far they go with this.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. You are obviously a big wrestling fan by your shirt that you had explained to me earlier. So
Cody Rhodes. Those who don't know, if you can see it, it's Cody Rhodes holding the New Japan title. Looking like He-Man.
The New Japan title? So is that not WWE?
No, it's New Japan Wrestling. It's their Intercontinental title he's holding.
That's a thing? New Japan Wrestling?
Yeah, New Japan World Wrestling is definitely a thing.
Is that like the Japan edition of WWE? Did they
have nothing to do with WWE?
No,
New Japan Wrestling is I guess you can kind of say the WWE equivalent in Japan.
Oh, wow, all right.
But a lot of wrestlers, American wrestlers, go there to make a name for themselves and get bigger. And the thing about Japanese wrestling is that they kind of incorporate a more strong style, which means they're more stiff. Like they actually punch the shit out of you in a fight, in a rap match, as opposed to holding back. So it's a lot more stiffer.
Damn.
But it's really cool.
So it's almost like a Bellator, or not even a Bellator, maybe like a Ryzen or a ONE FC compared to the UFC. Like you might have some young up-and-comer, they made it through like the local circuits, and now this is their next tier promotion, and then hopefully they'll get discovered and brought back over.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, now it's even more different because wrestlers kind of hit this new big boon again in terms of the popularity. So now you have New Japan Wrestling, which was kind of big at one point. Then you had Impact Wrestling, which is dwindling in popularity. And you have Ring of Honor, which is also dwindling in popularity. But in the heat of those companies dwindling, you have this new upstart company called AEW, which is getting really popular and getting really big to really cool levels. And it's almost like, to give you a kind of reference, it's almost like a resurgence of WCW coming back.
Oh, all right.
Because even AEW is now going to be on TV, but it's going to be on TNT, like WCW used to be, on Wednesday nights.
Yeah. Huh.
And their heavyweight champion right now is Chris Jericho.
Does he still do the Walls of Jericho?
Yes, and he has another finishing move, but he's still kicking, he's still wrestling really good. And they have trying to give you Cody Rhodes is there now. He's a part owner of the company as well. And the owner of the company, if you watch football, is the Jackson Jaguars owner, Tony Khan.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Damn, was he trying to go to battle with Vince McMahon?
He kind of giving an alternative because people have been kind of sour on WWE's product. So it's kind of an alternative to WWE. And it's really cool.
Is the WWE gone down that much? Like as far as, I don't even know who their stars are except for, who do I keep seeing? Not Razor Ramon. Raymond, no.
Roman Reigns?
There you go.
Yeah. Quality-wise, people make the argument that it's going down because times have changed and they don't do the things they're doing. People get mad with wrestling and stuff like that. People is still making money. Like they just got a big deal with Fox, where SmackDown is going to be on Fox now. So
wow,
that's a big deal.
Yeah,
like a multi-billion-dollar deal to go for every Friday nights. WWE SmackDown is going to be on Fox, a major network, which is huge.
That's crazy that wrestling is so weird. I would imagine they would go like all things go in waves, right? You have a lot of big stars that either make something exciting to watch, or you have like minimum stars where you're like, yeah, we'll tune in, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah, and I think WWE has that, but I think the direction of wrestling has changed so much where before it was all about having the big name characters and having these larger than life characters like Andre the Giant and, like I said, Hulk Hogan earlier, and even Stone Cold Steve Austin. And nowadays, wrestling doesn't necessarily have those larger than life characters. They have guys who work really well and are cool to watch and entertaining to watch, like guys like Kofi Kingston, while he's a larger than life character, he's an excellent wrestler. You have guys like AJ Styles and Seth Rollins. They are excellent wrestlers and big, cool characters, but they don't have the same feel that an Undertaker would have or a Stone Cold would have or a Rock or even a John Cena. I think if you really want to be honest with it, John Cena kind of probably was the last big like superstar to come out of wrestling. Like the guy who transcends wrestling.
Why do you think that is? They just can't find somebody else to become that star?
I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is now that Vince McMahon kind of wants it to be more about the WWE in a whole as opposed to building these stars. So you have situations like it feels like nobody can get over like they used to back in the day. Because you don't have these larger than life characters and they don't really build them like they used to.
That's interesting. I kind of get what you mean. I think UFC has a hard time. They had big stars like you have your John Jones, McGregor. You have certain
Ronda Rousey.
Certain ones that are up there, but now it's definitely down a little and there's so much of it that it's hard to have that somebody. You almost have to rely on the fighter or the wrestler to push their way to that front.
Yeah, like Daniel Cormier. Yeah. Daniel Cormier, when all those guys that you named were there, people wasn't looking at Daniel Cormier like they look at him now.
No.
He wasn't that entertaining guy that you went to, but now because UFC's cabinets have been kind of rated for those guys who are entertaining, not necessarily meaning that they are the best fighter or nothing like that, but they were entertaining. Like Chael Sonnen, he was a great talker.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar, he looked like a monster.
He is a monster. That dude is just huge. That's crazy.
Yeah. UFC doesn't really have those guys like that anymore. They have a few, but it's far between than how it used to be.
No, it's definitely changed as the sport has evolved. But now I think